Hello, beautiful soul. Welcome back to Mystic Calm, or perhaps welcome for the very first time. Before we go anywhere together tonight, I want you to truly arrive. Feel the surface beneath you, holding your body completely. Let your shoulders drop away from your ears. Let your jaw soften. Let the muscles around your eyes release. Let your tongue rest gently on the floor of your mouth. Now, bring one hand, whichever hand feels most natural, and place it gently on your chest, not on the heart center you are most familiar with. A little higher than that, just below the throat, at the top of the sternum, that soft and often overlooked space between the heart and the chakra. Rest your hand there for a moment before we begin, because this is where we are going tonight. This is the THYMUS Chakra, the high heart, the seat of something that most spiritual traditions have pointed toward, but very few have named with precision. A center of consciousness that exists at the exact threshold between human love and divine love, between personal feeling and universal compassion, between the heart, between personal feeling and universal compassion, between the heart that loves because it needs to, and the heart that loves because it cannot do otherwise. Take a slow breath in through the nose, and as you exhale, let the hand on your chest feel the warmth of your own body radiating back into your palm. That warmth is real. What lives beneath it is more real still. Let us explore it together. Most people who have studied the chakra system are familiar with the 7 primary centers: root, sacral, solar plexus, heart, throat, third eye, and crown. exist what some traditions call the minor chakras, or the higher octave centers, energy centers that become activated and accessible as the soul deepens on the awakening journey. Centers that were perhaps always present, but require a certain degree of consciousness to perceive and engage with. The thymus chakra is one of these higher octave centers. It sits in the high heart space between the heart chakra at the center of the chest and the throat chakra at the base of the throat. Energetically, it occupies the exact midpoint between feeling and expression, between the love that is felt inwardly and the love that moves outward into the world as action, as word, as presence. And physically, the location of this chakra corresponds to one of the most extraordinary and most overlooked organs in the body, the thymus gland. The thymus is best known in conventional medicine for its role in the immune system. It is the organ responsible for the maturation of T cells, those extraordinary immune cells that learn to distinguish self from non-self, that patrol the body looking for what does not belong, that mount the body's defense against invasion and illness. But the thymus carries a significance that goes far beyond its immunological function. In ancient Greek, the word thymus meant soul, spirit, and life force. The Greeks understood the thymus not merely as a physical organ, but as the seat of courage, of passion, of the vital animating principle that moves through a living being. And in the emerging field of psychoneuroimmunology, the science of the relationship between consciousness, the nervous system, and the immune system, the thymus is now understood to be exquisitely sensitive to emotional and energetic states. Fear, grief, and chronic stress suppress thymic function. Love, gratitude, compassion, and genuine heart coherence support and activate it. The high heart is not a metaphor. It is a physical and energetic reality that your body already knows how to access. We are simply going to remember together how to find it. The high heart center has been known under many different names across virtually every mystical tradition that has ever taken the inner life seriously. In the Christian mystical tradition, the Desert Fathers and the contemplatives of the Eastern Orthodox Church spoke of what they called the Nous, sometimes translated as the spiritual intellect or the eye of the heart. This was understood not as the ordinary thinking mind, but as a deeper faculty of perception located in the heart region that was capable of direct perception of the divine, of theosis, the direct experience of union with God that bypassed theological argument and intellectual understanding entirely. In Sufi mysticism, the equivalent center is called the Sirr, the secret, or the innermost heart. It is the deepest chamber of the heart, where the soul meets the divine directly, where the personal self dissolves into the presence of the beloved, where love ceases to be an emotion and becomes the very fabric of awareness itself. In the Gnostic understanding, the Pneuma, that divine spark carried within every human soul, finds its most natural home in this high heart space. It is from here that genuine gnosis arrives, not from the thinking mind, not from the lower emotional centers, but from this elevated seat of the soul that perceives the pleroma directly, because it itself is a fragment of the pleroma. And in Vedic tradition, beyond the primary 7 chakras, the high heart is understood as the seat of what Sanskrit calls anahata, the unstruck sound, the vibration that arises from no external cause, the inner tone of the soul that has remembered its own divine and resonates with it continuously, effortlessly, without needing anything from the outside world to sustain it. Different traditions, different languages, one living reality. The high heart has always been the seat of the soul's most direct access to the divine. Let me speak practically now about what an open and activated thymus chakra actually feels like in a lived experience. Because spiritual anatomy is only useful if it translates into something you can recognize in your own body and in your own daily life. When the thymus chakra is closed or suppressed, which is the condition of most people navigating the Pneuma without the tools of conscious awakening, there is often a characteristic quality of love that feels conditional, transactional, dependent on being received in order to be given. The heart in this state loves from need, from the wound, from the place that is seeking completion through connection, rather than offering connection from a place of genuine fullness. This is not a failure of the soul. It is simply the heart operating from a center below the high heart, from the ordinary heart chakra that has been shaped by human experience, by attachment, by loss, by the archonic conditioning that keeps the soul in a state of energetic depletion and relational hunger. When the thymus chakra begins to open, something shifts in the quality of the love that moves through you. It becomes less dependent on reciprocity, less contracted around the fear of loss, less bound by the conditions and outcomes that the ego requires in order to feel safe enough to love. It becomes more spacious, more steady, more reminiscent of something ancient and unconditional that was present before the first wound and will be present long after the last one has healed. This is the love that the mystics wrote about. The love that Rumi pointed toward when he spoke of the lover and the beloved as ultimately one. This is the love that mystics wrote about. The love that Rumi pointed toward when he spoke of the lover and the beloved as ultimately one. The love that flows not from the personal self outward, but from the pleroma through the Pneuma and into the world in a continuous, effortless, sovereign act of divine expression. The THYMUS Chakra is the seat of that love, and it is waiting to be activated in you. Let us go there now, together. Bring your awareness back to the hand resting on your high heart. If you have moved it, bring it back now. Feel the warmth of that space beneath your palm. Begin by breathing slowly and deliberately into that space, not into the belly, not into the chest in its entirety, but specifically, intentionally, into that high heart space just below where your hand rests. Inhale through the nose, directing the breath toward the thymus space. Feel it expand gently on the inhale, and on the exhale, allow any tension or constriction held in that area to soften and release. Again, inhale into the high heart. Exhale and release. As you continue breathing into this space, I want you to bring to mind something or someone that generates in you an effortless, uncomplicated sense of warmth and love. It does not have to be grand or dramatic. Perhaps it is an animal, a child, a memory of a moment, a pure and simple connection, a place in nature that has always made you feel held. Whatever arises most naturally and most easily, hold it gently in your awareness and notice what happens in the thymus space as you do. There is often a quality of expansion, of warmth spreading outward from that point. Sometimes a subtle vibration or tingling, sometimes simply a softening, a release of something that was held without your knowing it was held. This is the thymus chakra beginning to open, beginning to remember its function, beginning to radiate the frequency of the high heart into the field of your body and beyond it. Now, with your next inhale, bring in these words. Let them land not in the mind, but in the high heart space directly. I am the love that does not require a reason. Exhale slowly. Again on the inhale. I am the love that was here before the wound. Exhale. One more time. I am the love that the pneuma breathed into this body, and it has never once stopped moving through me. Exhale completely and rest for a moment in whatever quality of awareness has opened in that high heart space. It is yours. It has always been yours. The thymus chakra does not need to be built or created or earned. It only needs to be remembered. There is one more practice I want to offer you tonight, because the thymus chakra responds with particular sensitivity to sound and vibration. And there is a practice so simple toning. Place your hand back onto the high heart space if you have moved it. Take a slow breath in, and on the exhale, allow a sustained gentle hum to arise. Not forced, not performed, simply the natural sound of breath moving through a slightly closed throat. The sound of sustained for the entire length of the exhale. Feel the vibration of that sound in the thymus space beneath your hand. The sternum acts as a resonance chamber, amplifying and directing the vibration directly into the thymus gland and the high heart center it corresponds to. This is not incidental. Sound healing traditions across thousands of years of human practice understood that sustained tonal vibration directed at specific areas of the body generates measurable physiological and energetic effects. Modern research into the vagus nerve confirms that toning and humming activate the parasympathetic nervous system, reduce cortisol, increase heart rate variability, and generate states of genuine physiological coherence. You are not just humming. You are activating. You are using the most ancient and most accessible healing technology available to the human soul to open the center of consciousness that the Gnostics, the Sufis, the Desert Fathers, and the Vedic sages all understood as the primary seat of direct divine encounter. Inhale again and hum. Feel it. Let it work. Let the sound do what the mind alone cannot. The high heart knows this vibration. It has been waiting for you to return to it. back into the fullness of your body, back into the room where you are. Feel the weight of your body being held. Feel the hand still resting on your high heart. Feel the warmth of that space, perhaps a little different now than when we began. Something has been touched tonight, not created, not installed, touched, reminded of its own existence and its own extraordinary function. The THYMUS chakra is the bridge, the threshold between human love and divine love, between the personal heart that has been shaped by everything you have lived, and the high heart that carries something older and more luminous than any of it. It is the seat of the soul's most direct access to the Pneuma, the place where the Pneuma feels most at home in the body, the center from which the love that does not require reciprocity, the love that was always present before the first wound, the love that the Pneuma breathed into you at the moment of your first emanation, flows most naturally and most completely. It does not need to be forced open. It does not need to be earned through sufficient spiritual practice or adequate emotional healing. It simply needs to be remembered, breathed into, toned, held with the same quality of gentle, uncomplicated warmth that you brought to your practice tonight. Keep your hand on the high heart for a moment longer before you move. Feel it. Know it. It has always been there. It will always be there. not once. I love you. I'll see